let's go ahead and introduce the players. In the bottom right-hand position, spawning as the red Protoss.
Are you expecting me to do it?
And representing, no, it's Gosu.
Okay.
It is Hwangsin.
You were taking a lot of epic breaks in between, man. I was anticipating how you'd introduce them.
That's how you have to
I'm going to have to match it with a very grand introduction as well. Ladies and gentlemen, in the bottom left corner, we have Stephano from Team Millennium. That's it. Elias Tori is a fantastic Zerg
kind of
player.
an interesting way to do that.
No, it's an endearing way.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Stephano, he's on a Shakur's Plateau. It's not exactly the best map for Zergs. In fact, it's not a good map for Zerg whatsoever. Thirds are incredibly awkward. A lot of creep tumors, 3 creep tumors at least to even begin to connect the creep between ramps. So, assuming you take the third base towards the middle left of the map, if you take the one close to Watchtower, you close the gap between you and Protoss. So it's a very difficult situation for Zerg. That's why a lot of times Protoss really 2-base aggression, because it's easy for you to pick the time where Zerg is trying to get the third up and whatnot. But we'll see how Stephano adjusts. I mean, Stephano's never really complained in general. In fact, Stephano's been on record for saying Protoss is kind of weak.
Yeah, he says Protoss needs to
kind of
buff in this matchup.
Kind of back.
I think he's the only person that's ever said that in the history of StarCraft 2.
I know. No, actually, yeah, I think you're right. Especially to be a top one. Like, I can't even think of another Zerg.
Oh, Idra said that. I'm sorry.
Idra would love a buff to Protoss. I know that for a fact.
So BMIM. Anyway, let's talk about the builds real quick. 15 Nexus goes down for Hwangsin. He will follow up with relatively fast Forge. 15 Nexus is, I would say, well, it's okay. I think it's been kind of obsolete, I want to say, because I think the overall like 17-ish is proven to be a little bit better. Even though you do get that extra chrono boost, I think the 17 is a lot more flexible against a different all-ins, but still 15 is good. I don't want to discount it. It's very, very slight. It looks like Stephano is going ahead and taking his expansions. It looks like it's going to be the standard Stephano style, which is 3 hatcheries before any gas.
And yeah, Hwangsin, he knows what to expect by now. Stephano's style is one of the most documented currently in ZVP. Just very common for across, not just foreigners, but Koreans as well. Hwangsin, he went for that War Prism play. Wasn't nearly as effective as it could have been. Again, it always comes down to that force field on that ramp. We saw Cruncher try to do it. He kind of missed it as well. And when he's able to really land that and isolate, he killed the queens, which is really good installing that. But if he could kill off important tech structure or whatnot, he had a lot of time with those sentries if he can really micro them well. But in the end, Stephano did a fantastic defense. Now, Shakur's Plateau, you know Hwangsin. Does he have any special builds prepared on Shakur's or something like that?
I think it's the same thing that we've seen over and over again. That Sentry build is what he loves most. And what's so powerful about this over Antiga Shipyard is once I establish that Sentry force field on this ramp, not only do I not have a creep connecting both bases, so queens become a little bit less relevant, but also the third base is so far away from the main. So let's say I do have all these roaches rushing up to this top. Well, I've seen Hwangsin actually just pick up all of his sentries, drop one sentry over here, trap the units in, and then go for the third base. And it's really cool, obviously positioning micro tactics, but obviously that is within his range. I don't know. He could be doing something like that. He could be doing something else. We'll see in a little bit.
Now,
there it is. Robotics facility.
Oh yeah, the robotics facility. Now the robotics facility is just pretty common nowadays. Just in general, Gate Robo is usually a good transition. Some Protoss players like Stargate still. Genius, MCs, some of them still do it, but for the most part, Robo is like the standard thing to do.
Yeah. I think it's important to mix it up, because if I know you're always going robotic facility, then I will go Zergling, double upgrade into a potential Muta switch in case you pump out with some huge Immortal timing. Off of like 3 or 4 Immortals, not like 1 or 2, but 3 or 4 Immortals. If you push that, I will have, you know, that Spire on reserve in case of emergencies. So you have to do that because obviously Immortals don't do too well against Zerglings and Banelings. But, you know, the Stargate play obviously throws a wrench into that. So does the Twilight Council, or just the regular 8-gate that we've seen. Who is that player that did it recently? Just went Zealot Stalker. Can't even think of him now.
Puzzle.
Puzzle.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
On Shipyard's Plateau,
yes.
yeah.
That's exactly right.
And, yeah, I mean, Hwangsin's not bad by any means in PvZ. A lot of people are like, oh, man, how could he give away that stuff? I mean, he's beaten Killer and Morrow just in the past couple of weeks. And same thing, Stephano. I mean, this is outrageous win percentage. He's in the 70s percentage range, 72% against Protoss. So both these players, they're pretty comfortable in the matchup. Just, you know, Hwangsin, he just has to really execute better. Now, he does have his 4 sentries initially. And does Stephano know that that's coming? Even if he doesn't, he should be prepared. Look at this. Hwangsin warping in Zealot so he can ferry them. Oh, my goodness.
I've never seen this before. But obviously it's going to work out pretty well if he can get the sentries hidden over here. But no, he's going to display them immediately. And let's see how well it does.
Oh, yeah, so here comes the Zealots dropped on top of the sentries. And Stephano doesn't have the roaches out just yet. Has to fight with slow Zerglings. Speed is about to finish. The other hatchery also finishes as well. Force Field is trapping some of the drones, but he needs to protect the sentries as best as he can. Hwangsin does let his sentries get surrounded, and a couple of them are about to drop. But a great pickup by Hwangsin, saving all 4 of them. And the Zealots are now working on the rest of the units. The roaches that are hatching are immediately dealing with that accordingly. Hwangsin, that was a close call, but saving the sentries were very clutch, and now he's killing off a significant amount of units.
What's more important is the fact that Stephano knows exactly what his opponent is capable of, and the amount of sentry energy on these four sentries is so limited. You don't have the capabilities of doing too much after that. And we can see Hwangsin is doing the same build that we saw last time, but he's done far less damage than on Antiga Shipyard, which is such a shame. I thought he was looking in great position, but Double Evolution Chamber is going to help out so much. He is investing heavily into his Zergling, so they're a lot more relevant. Not only that, the Carapace will give him that advantage to be 3-shotted instead of 2-shotted. So Zealots are, you know, far less superior than we would normally see in these games. And
Stephano's getting he's going Ling Infestor, which is a little bit of an older build, but it used to be really popular to deny third bases from Protoss, especially with Infestarians and Zerglings just forcing to cancel every time. I remember watching games on Metalopolis back. You just really couldn't do anything. And so this is kind of an interesting mixture of builds here from Stephano. You can see he already has +1 melee already done, so he's going to catch up with double Evo, just like you said. Hwangsin trying to grab a fast third. Now, this is a difference between game number 1 and game number 2. Trying to take an expansion rather than tech up and go for a lot of stalkers and blank. And if you can secure this position, it's very good for Hwangsin.
Correct. You need to put up a ton of cannons, though, in case there are exactly what we see. Infestors absolutely destroy and dismantle this build. Because what you do is fungal the sentries, and then a lot of the defensive capabilities are absolutely gone. Another way to actually go about this is to deal with it through Zerglings and Banelings. Obviously, Stephano, I mean, he's looking so strong in this match. All he needs to do is slightly pressure his opponent, and I think he will crumble, because the amount of space you need to protect this natural, or this third base and the natural, it's a very wide open area, and I don't think there are nearly enough sentries if he wants to do this style. He needs to go up to somewhere around, I think, 12 to 14 if he wants to be sufficient.
It's tough. He's also has to deal with the burrow infestors that can kind of move around, and looks like Stephano's going to move in here. Now he needs to try to deny this third as best as he can, or he can try to pull apart and go for the natural. Hwangsin's going to play zone defense until then, trying to get his observer in position, but it's not going to see the units until just now. And as a result, Hwangsin knows he has to cover both areas. At the natural, doesn't really have anything, and Stephano's going to immediately send some units, sees the sentries are not there, so he knows everything's at the third.
Yep. And here we go. The Fungals, they're going to start up on those sentries, and he doesn't care. These initial units are fine, but he needs to get those continuations on those sentries ASAP. And we're going to see...
Oh, man.
Ooh, wow.
Look at that. Infestarans on the high ground, and Hwangsin, his sentries are completely exposed. A nice, cool heads-up play from Stephano to drop Infestarans and take out the sentries. And as a result, Hwangsin's defenses are extremely limited. He has a Colossus coming out into the field, but is very exposed. In fact, if Stephano decided to turn around and kill it, he definitely could have. Nonetheless, a lot of damage has been done in terms of Hwangsin's ability to do any kind of push. He was at 8 sentries, now down to 4, and a lot of his ability, his army just got traded whatsoever.
Absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. And you can see Hwangsin, I think he tried to do a little bit of harassment in the bottom left-hand corner, but it wouldn't be too successful, as I think he's probably, let me just check really quick. I don't know if he has weapons or not, but That being said, I mean, Stephano, we can say he's massively ahead. Let's go ahead and take a look at that right now as we see the defense of Hwangsin, but more importantly, the strength of those infested Terrans in that last engagement.
Yeah, so you can see the initial force fields immediately with blocking off the units, but the big thing is taking care of these sentries because they were so full of energy. They've been there since the beginning. The War Prism kept the sentries alive, and the infested Terrans going to work. You can see Hwangsin still force healing, trying to hold it off, but he was trying to buy time to see if the Colossus can come out, really hold it off, but in the end it wasn't enough. Now back over to the live broadcast, we see the immediate War Prism attempt to harass, and I mean, Stephano's been on top of this no matter what happened. He's really been able to fend off this harass, not overcommitting, not sending all of his units, just sending enough to deal with it, because in the end, Hwangsin's trying to push down the middle to get positioning.
I do have to say, Hwangsin, he was in an okay position from that last battle, but the fact is, the amount of sentries he had to make in that beginning stage, I mean, yes, it keeps you okay, it keeps you alive, but it doesn't actually have a good progression directly after that, because think of what that is. Every 2 sentries is the gas of a Colossus. That's a pretty big opportunity cost right there, Frodan. So right now, Hwangsin's push is kind of delayed, and you're going to see, oh my goodness, he's actually pushing in here. This is so audacious.
He puts Infested Terrans to absorb the initial Colossus blows. The Corruptor's going to work. Hwangsin gets completely locked down by the Fungals, and it doesn't matter how many force fields you have. His Colossus are completely exposed and vulnerable. Down they go. Hwangsin now only has a few Stalkers and Sentries and Immortals left, but he's got enough energy really to hold everything off. With only Stalkers and Immortals, you can see Stephano backs off for just a second, but he doesn't even really need to, as he's now realizing that is it to the Protoss army. Hwangsin now down to 100 supply. Stephano is still looking strong, nearly maxed.
On a map like Shakur's Plateau, Stephano is still able to look so strong against even a macro-style Protoss. There's a half macro style, I would say, but additional units are going to be warped in here. You can see the sentries. For him not to have those, again, it's really important units that he's losing over here. So yes, he does net a lot of roaches, but looking further into it, that's Colossus, that's High Templars, that's his mothership, you know, Stargate Tech, everything like that. It's so difficult. And off of this, where does Hwangsin go? His main is just about to mine out. His natural is soon to be. His 4th base is going to be very difficult to actually take. I don't know a great position where it's not vulnerable to the Zerg army.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, Stephano has his entire side of the map pretty much down pat. This one expansion probably won't live that long, but Hwangsin might not even try to take him out. Oh, no! Yeah, the blind side of the sentries as they're getting completely surrounded and sectioned off. Hwangsin now able to really get into the position he wants to, and as a result, Stephano gets everything. Brood Lords are about to arrive to the battlefield, and the Stalkers immediately blink backwards. Now, Hwangsin does have this high ground, but it is a sinking ship at this point. Stalkers look everywhere. They are surrounded by Zerg units, and these Stalkers have nowhere to go.
You sunk my battleship, sir.
Terrible movie.
I didn't even bother.
Absolutely awful, but...
You spent money on that, man?
No, man.
Okay, good.
I just saw the trailer and I knew it was going to be bad, like Abraham Lincoln Vampire Slayer.
Dude, how dare you? How dare you? At this point, ladies and gentlemen, Stephano is just so far ahead.
This is Stephano, the Protoss Slayer. And Stephano's going to start working on everything at once. And he's only got Blink Stalkers, really, but with the Infestor support and Zerglings to really get this around, Hwangsin is not going to be able to hold his 3rd base very long unless he makes a huge miracle defense, and that's going to require some help from Stephano. And Stephano has such a firm control and grasp. He's making 7 more Brood Lords, and when those Brood Lords finish and Hwangsin doesn't have an answer for them, that's going to be it.
Yeah. I mean, it's so difficult. Hwangsin is relegated to make these Stalkers because he has no AA. He has no anti-air that is acceptable. And with the continued high, I shouldn't say high Infestor count, but you know, the overall well-controlled Infestor count, he's able to obviously demolish everything.
The blink forward is not going to be enough from Hwangsin. The Zealots immediately getting taken care of. Then one Immortal trying to get into the battle, but with this many Brood Lords and Infestors really barreling down against Protoss army, there it is. GG. Hwangsin, I hope I can be better before MLG and hope to see you again. Goodbye.
Bye, GG. Stephano takes it 2-0, ladies and gentlemen. And he is, God, he's like the Jaime Lannister of Zergs. No, Protosses. Yeah. You know who Jaime Lannister is, do you?
I don't. I'm looking up right now on Google.
That's sad.
Jaime Lannister?
Lannister, yeah.
Oh, he's an actor.
Game of Thrones, son.
Game of Thrones.
Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, Stephano's going to take it very seamlessly. Jaime Lannister? Yeah, he's...
Thank you for making
They
me
call him
look
the
silly on
Kingslayer.
stream, Andre.
They call him the Kingslayer.
I'm going to remember that. I'm going to try to make you look silly also on stream.
Dude, I'm not trying to make you look silly.
It's okay.
You should
What's
know
done
Game of
is
Thrones,
done.
bro. You should know Game of Thrones.
Thank you so much to
That's
Epson.
actually, you're wrong.
Thank you so much to Epson for providing projectors for NASL Season 3. Guys, we'll be back with more acting member. Night End vs. Puma was canceled, so we're going to do the daily wrap-up after this commercial break. Don't go anywhere. We're going to go over predictions and everything right after this.